What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone for another preview because we play Milan tomorrow. Big game, obviously. It's Juve Milan. It's always a big game, but also a big game for the season. It's a bit maybe too much because it's still very early on in the season. But it is an important game for our season, and especially coming off four games we couldn't win, four draws. We saw what that could mean, from last season, how that can escalate really quickly. And then there's also the rumbling of the strikers are not kicking off. Jonathan David is struggling. Openda's not kicking in. Vlahovic, if he doesn't start, he doesn't play well. The Koopmeiners situation. The fact that we have some injuries, the fact that we have 3 away games after this international break. So there's a lot of there's a lot of things that need to be discussed, and that could have, this game can take away a couple of doubts, or they can make the doubts even more legit, rather than saying, oh, they're just doubts. Stay calm, remain calm, etc. So that's what we're going to talk about. Before we do that, as always, smash the like button right now, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it, because I think it is a big game. Juve Milan is a big game. It's not like Inter Juve. It's different. The vibe is different. It's, you don't like Milan, fine. They don't like us, but it's a different type of vibe. Now, what could change that today or tomorrow is that obviously Allegri comes back to the stadium. Rabiot comes back to the stadium. Let me move the mic a little bit. They all come back to the stadium. Maybe that's better. They all come back to the stadium. So it's a completely different vibe you're gonna create, you know how this goes. And if we lose, people are like, oh, we should have kept Allegri, we should have kept Rabiot, etc. You know how these things go. But for what it means for, I'm gonna say for Tudor more than the season, because if you do not win tomorrow, it's not something crazy at this moment in time, the way we're playing, but also in general. I don't think Roma will just brush Milan aside, or Napoli at home. I don't think they're easy games, so it can happen. You cannot beat Milan at home, throughout the season. It happens, they're big games, so that's not really the point. The point is what it can mean for Tudor, because the pressure is starting to pile up little by little, because at the end of the day, he's been in charge for 20 odd games, and to be honest, I don't really see an identity, like he said. I don't really see what type of team we want to be. I'm not seeing that, so it is something that will be talked about even more so if we don't beat Milan, and if the same problems pop up, we will have the same conversations. Only I think the people who were maybe a little bit on the fence to open those conversations will now jump on over the fence and be like, okay, you're right on that point, or that point that has been discussed throughout the last couple of weeks is correct. We cannot keep a clean sheet. Like I said, if anyone watched my video from yesterday, go check that out. We need to score 2 goals on average to win a game, in theory, because we concede 1.6 goals a game almost every week. So you basically need to go into the game with a mindset to score 2 goals, and that's actually a good mindset. The issue is it's not enough, because we scored against Villarreal 2 goals. It wasn't enough. We did it against Atalanta. It wasn't enough. We did it against Verona. It wasn't enough. We did it against Dortmund, and that was not enough. So you need to go into a game with that mindset of, we're gonna concede a goal. As a fan, you're going into the Milan game and you're like, okay, we're gonna concede a goal because that's what we do. 11 goals in 7 games, that's way too much, and that sets us back, especially when, yes, you had those two crazy games where everything happened, and everything was going in basically. But what if you don't have those crazy games and you need to be clinical, and then you see Jonathan David miss an insane chance, and it's not to write off Jonathan David, but all these things come to play, and all these things, I think, need to be addressed. You need to get some sort of answers on, not all of those things on one game, but many of those things, So is Jonathan David going to start? Like, reports say Jonathan David is going to start. I will be very surprised if Tudor sticks with Jonathan David, because, well, he hasn't played back-to-back games since, I think, the start of the season, since what was it, Parma and Genoa away from home when he scored against Parma, and didn't have a good game against Genoa. So I would be surprised, but I would be okay with it, because I think if you want to, you know, get him going or whatever, you cannot really bench him after that game. He played poor. Like in theory, you can say you can bench him, but it's not that Openda played well. It's not that Vlahovic has been playing well if he starts games. So there's not an evidence out there to say you played Vlahovic, because Vlahovic started the game and it was poor. The only good games he had was when he came off the bench, in my opinion. So that's also a thing that you can, put out there. Was like, let Jonathan David play, like give him a shot to redeem himself, or to get some consistency going for himself and the team. So that's one of those questions. If Jonathan David's going to start, how is he going to react? Is he going to have a good game? Is he going to struggle? Is he going to kick on? Like, all these things come into play when we talk about what we need to see from that Milan game. But I think the most important thing as well is, defensively, we start with a lot of defenders on the pitch, but we look extremely vulnerable at times. It is, it's a fact. And then you need to talk about, maybe we need to rethink that, or Tudor needs to rethink that. Is it about individual quality? Yeah, I don't think Gatti is a good defender. I don't think Kelly is a very good defender. He's having a better season than last season, but it's not. I'm not gonna sit here and say, yeah, keep Kelly and build on that. No, like, those are players I would still move on in the summer in a heartbeat. Kalulu at wingback, is that really necessary? Like, all these things, yeah, you have those players out there, but are they helping you in those positions? Like, are they actually helping you? And the answer is no. So is he gonna change that? No, he's not gonna change that. He's gonna do what he's always does. Excuse me. If Bremer is fit, Bremer is going to start with Kelly and probably with Gatti. Cambiasso, for example, the biggest example out there. I think the potential is through the roof, but his output is just, how do I need to put it? Like, it's worrying, because if you look at Cambiasso, the way he plays, it doesn't seem like it looks like he doesn't really care. And I don't want to say he doesn't care, but that's how he comes across, with the little flicks, the back, the back passes, the smooth touches. But the thing is, they're not coming off, and the fact that he keeps doing that and it's not coming off, I'm like, go back to basics. What works for you? Now, I do think the way he's playing right now in that position, I think it doesn't help. I don't think he's very good at that. uh, but we're not going to change from position. So, like, it's easy to say, oh, Cambiasso care and then it will all be good. But I don't think he comes out there and he doesn't care. It's just how he is right now. It's nonchalant. And you can say bench him, but who do we have? Who do we have to bench him? We kept Kostic. Nobody wants to see Kostic. I don't want to see Kostic. I don't want to see Kostic play. The fact that he's out there and got absolutely no minutes, I think only against Genoa, is also telling on the club's policy in the summer. Like, there's no backups. Joe Mario, for example, he was bad against Villarreal. I'm sorry, he wasn't good, but that's like, he is a chaotic player. That's what you're gonna get, and that's why he's not playing at this moment in time, and he's playing Kalulu out of position, because it's more controlled. But yeah, going forward, there's nothing. You're asking even more of the other players up top. Koopmeiners, that's the biggest question. If Koopmeiners starts and we don't win that game, or if Koopmeiners starts and he has one of those games again, how are you going to look at Tudor and be like, I'll give you a pass on that one again? Because we got to a stage right now when it comes to Koopmeiners that, like I said earlier on, you want to revive him. You want to give him another shot. New season, new me, whatever. Do that type of stuff. It's not working. It's not working, partly because of him, because, again, the simple things he does wrong are shocking. You look at them and you're like, what are you doing? Like, are you for real? Like, is this real what you're trying to do? That's one. And the other thing is, he plays decent enough in midfield, and then it's like, you go play on the right wing, and it kills him off completely. So even Tudor, while trying to revive him, is killing him off. Like, it's a like, the situation is extremely odd. I'm looking at that situation. I'm like, what are we actually doing with Koopmeiners? You're trying to revive him, but the other day, like the day after, you're like, let's kill him off. You know, let's not revive him. Let's not try to revive him. So, like the entire idea behind it is weird. The conclusion is you shouldn't play, but Turan might not be fit enough. So here we go again. You know, is he gonna play? Is he gonna play McKennie? I don't know. The only thing that I do know is that Conceição was fit and Zegrova's out there. There's no way he starts Koopmeiners on the right. Like there's absolutely no way he can come up with that tomorrow against Milan because nobody will agree with that. Absolutely nobody. Like not even the biggest believer in this and who's still, very, very optimistic will look at that and be like, come on, you've done that so many times. What are we trying to do? Right now, on Sunday, tomorrow, we need to see a reaction. We need to see a reaction from everyone on that pitch. As a team, from Tudor, the subs are poor, the timing are poor, the adjustments are poor, the way we play is poor. Technically, the players were poor against Villarreal. So a lot of poor things that need to improve because Milan, they will come to the stadium to play their game. I don't think they're going to go out full attack. But like against Napoli, they will have moments where they'll be all over you and they will try to capitalize. That's what we did with Allegri many times. Even in the past when we were winning stuff, teams felt, we have this game, and then out of nowhere we popped up and we scored a goal, and the game was basically wrapped up. Pulisic is in flying form, Leao is back. That back line you can get at, you can, but that means everyone needs to be on point. You cannot play a game like the Villarreal game technically and then expect that you're gonna, just roll over that Milan side. Like it's just not going to happen. Modric is playing at a high level, which isn't a shock. Remember when we talked about Modric and I was like, I'll take him for a season or two because we need leaders and also quality leaders. And in Serie A, he will do. And yeah, he will do. He's one of the best players in Serie A at this moment in time, the way he's performing. So, like, that midfield battle is going to be key. And without Thuram, I think it's going to be difficult, even, with Thuram, because he's not 100% fit, it will be difficult. So you're going to heavily rely on Locatelli playing an excellent game, Koopmeiners doing a decent enough job, I guess, or McKennie, because Modric is flying. Rabiot is, fair play. He's playing well for Milan this season when he joined. He's actually having an impact. So that's good for them, I guess. But they're coming to the stadium to try to win that game, obviously. They will try to take control of that midfield. And if we lose total control of that midfield, we're in serious trouble. We are in trouble, So it's going to be a demanding game for whoever plays in midfield. Most likely, it's going to be Locatelli and Koopmeiners. It's going to be a massive game for these guys, And at the back, Kalulu or is it Cambiasso, we need something. We need something. I'm looking at Yildiz, but he looks extremely tired. We haven't really talked about, players are tired issue. Players look tired. And that is so worrying because it's October. And when I look at Yildiz, I'm like, who? If it looks like you played 10 games straight in 10 days straight. That's how it looks. Like we're asking a lot of him, and he's not coping with it right now. You can see it's not as fresh. You can see it's not as dynamic at this moment in time. And that is a worry because we heavily rely on him. Conceição looks fresh. Zegrova looks quote unquote fresh because he hasn't played a lot, but not for 90 minutes, obviously. So it's going to be interesting, but we're going to need to capitalize. We need a strong performance. We need a strong overall performance. We need a statement going um, into the international break. And to be honest, this is going to sound crazy, but you can have a very good game and just be unlucky and not win that game. But I think it will put the fan base, or me personally, at ease more so than have a poor game and scrape a point. Because then it's like, yeah, another point, but we learn nothing besides the fact that we're not improving. If you have a very strong game, and for some reason, it's one of those games, I will come on, I will say, you know what, it's frustrating that we didn't win again, 5 draws in a row, whatever, but that was a good performance. That was a good statement, and that's something I can actually build on because we've seen, or I've seen, that we can do it in a different way. So there are two types of things. Obviously, I want to win. If you scrape it 1-0, cool, you're happy you win, but I said it many times, somebody in the comments said, oh, we haven't lost, you're everyone on this channel is way too negative. No, it's not. It has nothing to do with losing. It's like, look at what you're watching. Last season, we hadn't lost in the league until match day 22, but everybody knew like, match day 11, everybody was like, we're going absolutely nowhere. This is not good enough. And we still didn't lose games until months after that moment, but you were watching that and you were like, this is not good enough. You know, yeah, you're not losing, but you're also not winning. You know, it's not sustainable. It's not bringing you to places. And I have that same feeling right now. So yeah, let's see what's going to happen. My prediction for the game is, yeah, we're gonna concede. So I mean that's just like by default. You need to, like, if you're doing predictions, you just need to say we're gonna concede because we're gonna concede. So we're gonna concede. I don't think we're gonna win. So I'm gonna go 1-1. I don't like. There's no evidence or there's no, you know, performance in the last couple of weeks to suggest, yeah, you know, go for a win, because no, they haven't really shown that. So I'm not gonna go for a win. So I'm gonna go 1-1. But you can have 1-1, a 1-1 game and a very strong performance. But obviously, you know, we need the points right now, you know. So anyways, in the chat, in the comments, let me know what your prediction is, what your expectation is for this game, you know. And yeah, you know, what do you want to see from this team heading into the international break? Thanks for watching, and I will speak to you guys tomorrow post game.